Hello students, this is Hardik sir, and today we will be starting our new lesson of Standard 8 from the book Social and Political Life. The title of the chapter, as you can see, is the Indian Constitution. So first, what is Constitution and why we need a Constitution? Such all number of questions we are going to see in the upcoming chapter. First, we have an introductory part that we have already studied the same in 6th and 7th standard books. The title of the books used to be Social and Political Life. So we have already looked at the Indian Constitution in previous standards. So have you ever wondered why we need a constitution or been curious about how the constitution got written or who wrote it? There are a number of certain questions that we need to be curious about, that who wrote it and why we need a constitution. In this chapter we are going to discuss both these issues and also look at the key features of the Indian Constitution, the most important part, that is key features of the Indian Constitution, which we are going to see in this particular lesson. Each of these features is crucial, that is very important to the working of democracy. Means without these key features there cannot be democracy in our country, and some of these will be the focus of different chapters in the same book. So what we are going to study in this particular Social and Political Life book of Standard 8, the same we are going to look upon up with the upcoming chapters. So let us have a look over the chapter. So first, Indian Constitution. As you can see the title, the Indian Constitution. In this chapter, first we have a story of a football, as it is given that it is a game that is, you might have heard about it or even you would have played the game, but from the name, from the title itself, that is football, you can understand that this game is played with the player's feet. Means it involves player's feet according to the rules of football. According to the rules, so every certain game has certain rules. So if the ball touches the arm of the player except the goalkeeper only, so if the arm gets touched to the ball, then it is considered as foul. So if players start holding the football in their hands and keep passing it around, then they are not playing football anymore. We cannot say that they are still playing football, that is another game that they are playing. Such things happen with another games also, like hockey or cricket. They have also such rules, and according to that only they are played, and each of these rules only help us to define the game, and then only we can distinguish one game from another. That only helps us to differentiate between two different games, and they are known as the fundamental to the game. So that is compulsory, that is necessary, and without this fundamental we cannot conclude that this particular group of players is playing this particular game. So like these games, a society has also a constitutive rules that make it what it is different and how it can be differentiated from other kinds of societies. Means as the games have such rules, even the societies also have such rules, and different societies have different rules, and we can conclude that so because of so and so rules, such societies are different from the another society or societies. So in large societies in which different communities of people who live together, there are number of rules as they are formed just to make a civilized life, and a written document in which we find such rules is known as a constitution. So that is what the constitution is. We have already studied that a set of rules through which a country is governed is known as a constitution. Now before moving further, if you haven't still gone through the textbook, then I request you to read the entire lesson once again. At least go through why does a country need a constitution, because we are going to see the same part again. So why does a country need a constitution? So that we are going to see very soon. Now before starting, why do we need a constitution or why does a country need a constitution? Before that we will find some sort of information about the Indian Constitution. So a constitution consists of a set of rules and principles to govern the country. Means to govern country there has to be some rules and principles without which we cannot govern any country. How Indian Constitution was drafted? So it was drafted by the Constituent Assembly, which was formed in December 1946. Again, important question it is, when was Constituent Assembly formed? It was formed in December 1946. There were 300 members in the assembly and it was headed by Dr. Rajendra Prasad. The Constituent Assembly completed the work, means drafting of constitution was completed in 2 years, 11 months and 18 days. So they took 2 years, 11 months and 18 days to draft the Indian Constitution, and the Constitution of India was adopted on 26th November 1949. So it was the date when it was adopted. It was not brought into force. It came into force on 26 January 1950, which we celebrate as Republic Day, as you all know. So it was it came into force on 26th January 1950. As today also we celebrate our Republic Day on this particular date itself. So as there are number of information, this is all important detail which you need to learn. So please be focused. Now we will find that why does a country need a constitution. Today most of the countries in the world have a constitution. All democratic countries, they are likely to have a constitution. It wants to say that the countries which are democratic, they would have their constitution, but it is not necessary that all the countries that have a constitution are democratic. Democracies have constitution, that is most probably possible, but the constitution does not mean that if they have a constitution that means they are also democratic. Democratic will have constitution, they are likely to have constitution, but try to understand all the countries which have constitution does not mean they are all democratic. The constitution serves several purposes. There are number of purposes which are served by constitution, and what are those? So first, it lays out certain ideals that form the basis of the kind of the country that we as citizens aspire to live in. So we as citizens aspire means we desire to live in such situation that is something informed by our constitution. Or put another way, a constitution tells us what the fundamental nature of our society is. So from constitution itself we can come to know that what are the fundamental nature, what is the fundamental nature of our society that is reflected in the constitution. A country is usually made up of different communities. In single country there cannot be only one community, there are a number of different communities. They share certain beliefs but may not necessarily agree on all issues at the same time. They share certain beliefs. For certain areas of interest they may have same ideology, but it does not mean that on all the issues they will agree every point of time. It does not mean, because there are number of different communities, and such different communities they share certain belief together, that is true, but with all issues they are always on the same side, that we cannot say. So in 1934 the Indian National Congress made the demand for the Constituent Assembly. So in 1934 INC, as you have already studied, it made the demand for a Constituent Assembly. After the assembly was established, once you know, it took approximately more than 2 years of time to draft the constitution. We have already seen this, but it was demanded in 1934. During the Second World War, this accession for an independent constituent assembly formed only of Indians. So formed only of Indians, as you can see, and that gained momentum, and this was convened in December 1946. Means now we had independent assembly as it was demanded somewhere in 1934, as you can see, but by 1946 ultimately we got the momentum, Indians gained momentum, and this was convened in December 1946. The photo on page 2, which you can find in your textbook also, the same picture it is given in the textbook. The photo on page 2 shows some members of the Constituent Assembly between December 1946 and November 1949. the Constitution Assembly drafted a constitution for independent India. As we have already seen that how long did it take to draft the Indian Constitution. Before you still continue, I request you to once again go through the lesson if you have still not read it. So then our constitution had drafted, our Constituent Assembly had drafted the constitution for independent India, free to shape their destiny at last after 150 years of British rule. It wants to say that free to shape their destiny at last means now after 150 years we had an opportunity that now we were supposed to be free from British rule, and now we would have our own constitution, and the members of the Constituent Assembly approached this task with the great idealism that the freedom struggle had helped produce. So because of this freedom struggle, whatever the great idealism was produced, our Constituent Assembly members that approached with the task with great idealism. You will read more about the work of the Constituent Assembly later in the chapter. We are going to see the same, and the photo which you are seeing right now on the screen, that also shows you the Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, who is right on this particular picture addressing the Constituent Assembly. So we are here helped with the situation in Nepal also. With the title itself, you can see a situation in Nepal. We are going to see a case study. We are going to get an example about Nepal. Nepal was a monarchy, and the previous constitution of Nepal, which had been adopted in 1990. The important year you have to remember the same. Nepal was a monarchy and it had already a constitution, the previous constitution which was adopted in 1990, that reflected the fact that the final authority would be with the king only, that it will be rested in the hands of the king, means the final authority, final powerful person will be only the king. A people's movement in Nepal fought for several decades. They fought for several decades to establish democracy, and in 2006 they finally succeeded in putting an end to the powers of the king. Means 1990 when they started for movement, and ultimately in the year 2006 they succeeded to put an end to the power of the king. Means now the king was no more the powerful person. Now the people have to write a new constitution. As now the powers were not with the king, so they had to write a new constitution to establish Nepal as a democratic country. So to establish Nepal as a democratic country, they had to now write a new constitution. As you can find the same story, we also had to write a same constitution because we were to be free from the British rule. And the reason that they do not want to continue with the previous constitution, that again a question arises, that as they had a previous constitution, then why they were not happy with the constitution? They were not happy with the constitution. They didn't want the previous constitution because it does not reflect the ideals of the country. So what the people wanted, or how the Nepal should be, as the people wanted Nepal to be, that was not there, and that they have fought for, and that's why they fought just to gain their own constitution and to make the Nepal as a democratic country. So we have one example, we have two examples here about a misuse of power. Why this title is given immediately after this particular situation? As you can find that king, I don't say that they misuse the power, but the whatever decisions are taken by king, there might be possible ideologies that the population may not be satisfied with the same, and that's why we are here given with the examples of misuse of power. So what exactly happens with misuse of power? We are also helped with the same story in your textbook, as you would have studied the same. So Suresh is the class monitor. He is a bully, as you can find the word. So he dominates everyone. Bully word suggests that he keeps dominating other classmates. His classmates are not too fond of him. They just don't like him too much. Mrs. Rao, who is the class teacher, she had to leave for some reason, urgent work, and she asked Suresh to mind the class, and she left the class, and Suresh starts picking on Anil. So now what happens? So Anil, who is not doing anything, but sometimes the same happens in class also or in the society also. This is only an example do not compare it with any of the living organisms. So Anil, today I am going to report you to Mrs. Rao. This was said by this particular student, as you can find Suresh. But Suresh, when he said like this, Anil had a question that what he had done. Actually, he was only doing his work, but still, as he was a bully, he wanted to harass him. That's why he directly said that I am going to report your name, so that he would get the punishment. So when Mrs. Rao returns to the class, what happens? He says that, ma'am, while you were away, Anil kept talking loudly and disturbing the class. He would not listen to me. As this didn't happen in real, you have already seen. So he directly, being a bully, he informed the madam some wrong thing, means he was given power by that time. In the absence of teacher, he had the power to mind the class, to take care of the discipline of the class. But as you have seen, as it didn't happen, but though he was given a power, he has misused it. So Anil, you will have to stay back after school today and write, I will not disobey the class monitor 100 times. But Anil still tries to say, but ma'am, I didn't do it anything. But still, ma'am doesn't agree, and you can find that this was the misuse of power by Suresh, as he was a bully, and he ultimately got him punished. So this is misuse of power. We have another example with the same thing, as we are going to see examples of domination and majoritism. So where you find some majorities, many of the times that the interest of minorities is not safeguarded. In this picture you can find that there are certain girls standing here and there are certain boys here. So the girls suggested to play football for a change, as every day they do not play football, but the boys said no, we will play cricket. So as you can see here also they are discussing something. You will find here that ultimately the teacher decides to settle that problem with a show of hands. Means there was voting done directly who wants to play football and who wants to play cricket. But obviously there are more boys in the class. So if there are more boys and if the boys wants to play cricket, so you can understand the more hands will show or will agree with cricket only. So ultimately you can find the boy cheering, hey, we won, we won. That proves that the boys have won this. In this part you will find that we always have to do what the boys want because they are in majority, this girl suggests you. And why does she think like this? Because they are in majority. So if they are in majority, so whenever there will be voting, you will find that only the majority people will win, and their decision, their interest will be safeguarded. But in democracy, it does not mean the interest of minority must not be safeguarded, it must be safeguarded. So such unhealthy situation, as you can find here, that also can occur in democratic societies too, where a majority can continuously enforce decisions that excludes minorities and go against their interest. So that's why what this story suggests us, we will find the review of both the examples. Here the class monitor Suresh, we have already seen he was a bully and wanted to make Anil, there is a spelling error, an innocent boy, and the teacher believes the class monitor. So in this same part we have seen that the teacher believes class monitor and because of that he was punished. The constitution usually contains rules that ensure that minorities are not excluded from anything that is routinely available. A constitution is preciously to prevent this tyranny. Tyranny means to be in power, dominating of the majority. So constitution tries to prevent this. Another reason why we domination by the majority of a minority. So just a domination of majority to minority, it must not be there, and that's why the constitution gives everyone equality. And this can refer to one community dominating another, that is inter-community domination, or members of one community would dominate others with the same community. So such things keep happening, and that is given intra-community domination. So it must not happen, and that's why ultimately there has to be a constitution. Now what are the key features of constitution that we will be studying by the part 2. Thank you students, keep reading.